Welcome back to In Bed with Sangya. This is our podcast where we look at sex, relationships, intimacy, kink, pleasure, and sometimes pleasure products. I'm Tanisha RK, the co-founder of Sangya Project, which happens to be the creators of India's first intimate massager. And with me are...
I'm Aashish Mehrotra, also redefining the meaning of in bed because we're on the floor. Also the co-founder of Sangya Project. And with me is the lovely Shweta Sangtani.
Hi, I'm also one of the co-founders of Sangya Project. And today we're getting in bed with iced tea Seltzers. These guys were kind enough to send us a whole carton of this stuff. And we are actually going to get smashed as we record this podcast.
We all have 8. I guess we're going hard today.
Oh, that's how we're starting?
Yeah.
So I feel like everyone can now
strong.
tell what the theme of this episode is going to be, considering what the bottles on our tables are.
Oh, that's good.
You already had a very large sip.
I'm not supposed to. The point was to start drinking, right? It's like those ads. Okay, fine.
No, I'm going to tell everyone what this episode is actually about.
Okay. But now that I've taken a sip,
Yeah.
I bet I can chug the entire bottle, I think, before you complete it.
No.
Why?
What do I get out of this?
Okay, if I lose,
Yeah.
you get pancakes if we get hungover. But if I win,
My co-founders, ladies and gentlemen, the people who are going to teach you about consent
And
alcohol
responsibility around
today.
drinking.
well, alcohol and consent and safety and chugging and that
Don't we look like the people who are supposed to be teaching you about this?
I still got it. Ready? Okay. Are you ready? I'm ready. Are you?
I'm not sure, but yeah.
I'm not sure either. But
But
I'll still
hey,
try.
we're doing it for pancakes. Okay, on this episode, we're going to be looking at alcohol, social cues, consent, and safety. And to buy Aashish a little bit of time, what we're going to be discussing is... Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
I don't got it.
You don't.
Are you feeling it yet?
I forgot it was bubbly.
Oh, no. What did you think Seltzers are, baby?
Well, I thought it would be smoother.
You're not in
my-
your 20s.
I am not. But it tasted nice when it went up my nose.
Oh, no.
Okay, yeah. But this is your first time having seltzer, is it?
Yeah, this is actually my first time having seltzer. I usually go with gin or wine.
Yeah, I've had seltzer before, but this is really crisp and nice, but I should not have chugged it. It's really funny watching you drink seltzers because I know you're a whiskey sour man. And
That's actually not entirely true. It's not about just whiskey. I'll do anything that's a little fruity. I feel like I'm going to be bullied for saying that line later on.
Fruity and whiskey together for sure. I'm pretty sure you are.
You're describing me.
Yeah, I was waiting for that. Yeah, fruity, sour. So this is really working for me.
Oh, that's...
Oh, sour is me.
Yeah.
See, that's... Get it?
Dumbass.
When was the last time you got hammered?
Well, what type of hammered? Blackout hammered, dancing on the bar hammered, call my ex hammered, puke my guts out hammered, cried hammered, all of the above in one night hammered.
The most memorable one.
Unfortunately, I remember a lot of them. But
Yes.
okay, I'll talk about the first time I got drunk on a date. Right?
Yeah.
Because that's my most memorable one.
Hammered, right?
Hammered, right?
Yeah.
Really hammered.
Okay.
It was actually my first date after a 10-year relationship, right? So I was really fresh into this whole dating aspect. And when I went to the restaurant, the first thing I saw there was, and I was also poor, so, well, not earning that much, right? As the people around me were at that time, and I saw one thing: 999 bottomless desi wine, like desi. I think it was one of the Indian wines. So I was just like, great. I'm sorted because if like she asks what I'm drinking, I'll be like, I feel like having a wine, and I'll just pay $1,000.
Aashish and wine, I already know where this is.
Yeah. Now the problem is when I was drinking and I ordered for a meat platter. And she was talking and we're talking and I was getting drunker and drunker. Then came the bread, the olive, a little bit of salami and all that jazz. And I was just like, okay, I'll wait for the food. But I kept drinking, right? And I soon realized that I'm getting really, really drunk. And my date went to the bathroom. I called the waiter. I was like, "Idhar, मेरा meat platter किधर है?" And he's like, sir, aap to kha gaye? मैं खा गया? The bloody salami pieces that were there was a meat platter which was more than the bottle
He
of
didn't
drinks.
know that you have an appetite of 6 massive donuts post dinner.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
eat like a horse.
When someone says meat platter, I was expecting kebabs, I was expecting tikkas, I was expecting something like that. Not
Such an uncle.
please, everybody's gonna agree. And I was just like, shit, now what do? I can't order something else. It's last call. And I'm hammered. And this was the time when there was this place called Blue Frog next to the restaurant. And she's like, hey, you want to see this artist is playing now, entry will be free. Why don't we go to Blue Frog? And I was just like, great, we'll go to Blue Frog. And I walked to Blue Frog and, she's at the bar. She's like, I'm getting something to drink. You want anything? I was like, no. And she turned around, you look parched. Watermelon? And I was like, shit, at least she realized that I'm getting really high. She'll get me something to drink. I was like, yes, watermelon sounds great. She gave me this Blue Frog wale jugs. And I did this. I shouldn't have done that.
Why did you do it again?
But I started chugging and halfway through I was like, isme to whiskey hai.
Oh my God, I remember those drinks.
And I'm like, shit, now if I stop drinking, she's going to think I'm an idiot. And I had some of it and I was just like, you know what? I need to go to the bathroom. And this is the part where something changed in me drastically. It was called, and I call it the bathroom reality snap. Now, if anybody who's been drunk at a pub or any restaurant knows, when you go to the bathroom and you shut that door and the whitish lights and the sound of the music stops and everything starts moving
Yeah.
differently and you're trying to be like, fuck,
What
I'm
did I
drunk. I'm drunk and I need to go home. And I did just that. I told my date, hey, I was just like, hey, I told her, I was like, listen, I'm feeling really high.
Oh, nice.
I want to step, let's just go back. And she's like, yeah, let's go home. And I was just like, I'll drop you on the way. And we took a cab and I dropped her home and she got out of the cab and she looked at me. She's like, hey, so do you want to come up over or something? And I was just like, no, thank you. Kandivli, abhi, jaldi kar. And she was just there. I was like, she's safe in a building. I am going home. I was lucky enough that, again, I loved the cab drivers of Bombay. Got me home safe. I puked my guts out. And I promised myself that I would not drink on a date like that again.
Yeah.
Because, later on you think about all this, right? It's really funny. I told my friends, they laughed their guts out. She had a great time. She messaged me the next day and said, I had a great time. She
was probably really entertained.
I don't think she realized, to be very honest, because there's a very thin line between me sober and me drunk in my personality anyway.
And you
So true.
caffeinated, yes.
And me caffeinated.
Man,
Right?
can you imagine being that drunk on like a date or something? I can't imagine being that uninhibited and getting that wasted with people.
But
I mean, I did actually get extremely drunk on one of my dates, and it was probably the last time that happened. I woke up with a lot of regret. There was no consent violation, but it definitely didn't feel good. It was there was a lot of it I couldn't remember. And also physically, you get so numb with that much alcohol, right?
Yeah.
So it's not just inhibitions going down, it's also delayed realization of whether you want it or not and how much of it you are actually physically feeling.
Yeah.
what was that the last time you got hammered?
It was the last time I got hammered on a date. It's just not something I do anymore. I mean, unless it's with you guys, and that's absolutely fine. Just take advantage of me. But,
Oh my God.
but I mean, every time I go out, it's 3 small drinks tops with a stranger. It's too
But
unsafe.
that's the thing. No? Whenever we're out on dates, we need that drink.
You need
Yeah.
that drink. I'm not that nervous. Speak for yourself.
Hey, the only time I was nervous was when I was on a date with you. And that still happens. But what about you? Like, when was the last time you got hammered? Oh, forget that. When was the last time you got hammered on a date?
Well, this wasn't exactly a date, but it went in that direction all of a sudden. It was me with a partner, like this was ages ago. And she and I had met this guy who was visiting town, and we sort of hit it off. And we offered to sort of take him around the city and, help him spend some time and get to know the place before he had his flight back home. And he asked to keep his bags at our place, and we took him out for a drunk brunch, and we all got really, really hammered. And when we came back to our place to collect his bags before his flight, he tried to initiate a three-way because it was, me and a woman. And he was just like,
God.
you let me keep my bags at your place. Surely this means something. And I was like, no, I'm just a sucker for sangrias. Please leave. And then we sent him off.
I'm glad that was something that you guys could do, and you probably didn't get that drunk that you had your partner there as well.
Yeah.
But that's so, why do people do that?
I don't
Especially
know.
when they see two women.
Which part? Which
I-
part? When
not
they see
the
two
alcohol-
women and
yeah,
want to
that
go
one.
to have a
That
threesome.
one.
Like, I mean, that's
Yeah.
generally what the reaction is to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You and I were talking about house parties the other day.
Yeah.
This bathroom reality snap, right, is getting lesser and lesser because people are getting more comfortable in going for house parties. Like, I love fireworks.
Someone's
bursting.
having one right
Fireworks.
now.
When we did a poll on New Year's, where are you going for New Year's? They said
Most of them was house parties.
House
yeah.
parties. And
Yeah.
you remember the house parties you and I used
Oh
to throw.
my God. That's how you met Tanny.
Right? So we know that people get uber comfortable in drinking more and more and more at a house than at a pub, right? Not only because of finances, but also because the bathroom snap doesn't happen.
Yeah.
When you're in somebody's bathroom at home, the music sounds the same, the lighting is the same, you don't get that snap. And you're like, maybe I can just chill here for a little longer, I'll feel better. And another doesn't happen. And most often than not, consent and other boundaries are blurred when you already know and are comfortable with the people that you're with.
Yeah.
So how does consent now, let's go to the topic of this podcast, right? How does consent work then? I'm at a house party, right? How do people approach someone? How do people understand consent at that time? Because come on, you're meeting people and you're flirting with them, you start making out with them, right?
Yeah, it's not realistic, I think, to sort
Talk
of
about-
lecture people and say that you shouldn't mix
Yeah.
social experiences or romantic and sexual ones with alcohol. Sure, that's the ideal if we're talking about safety. But, the phrase liquid courage also exists for a reason. Sometimes we want that little one shot or that little 30 ml before we flirt with someone and
Yeah.
get things started. And yeah, 100% that makes navigating consent really, really difficult. And I think an addition to that problem is the fact that we're feeling really vulnerable when we're drunk. We don't know if we're ready to face rejection. We're not sure how to ask for consent. And I think that's why I was really excited to film this episode with you guys as well, because what we're going to be doing today is helping each other figure out how to ask for consent in key moments where we're super, super nervous about killing the mood or just coming across as too paranoid or mechanical in the moment.
Yeah, because I can't imagine being at a house party and I like you and I go up to you and like people say, I'm trying to flirt with you. You know the moment in when you lean in and you kiss, so what you need to do.
Yeah.
How do I ask for consent because, that's going to kill the mood is what people say.
Yeah.
I know what we can do.
What
We could make a game around this.
type of game?
What kind?
Is that
Well-
why you kept the shot glasses out? Am I having shots?
I just thought that was a
gonna do the
mistaken setup.
She's going to do shots. She's going to make us do shots.
She's not gonna.
Where I was thinking that I could ask questions and you guys could answer, and whoever fumbles can.
I'm
have a
always
shot.
going to fumble.
I mean, that works great for me. I'm on board with this if it means something he's gonna fuck up at.
I really hope I don't have to take the shots.
Oh, you will.
मिले हुए हो तुम लोग? Jesus Christ. I'm yours. Yo, you do not need to get me drunk.
I
But
want
please.
you to know your inhibitions, baby.
Okay. Chal. Question pooch.
Okay, are we ready?
Yes, I think. Yes, we are.
Okay. You're on a date and you've had a few drinks and you want to ask the person to come over specifically for sex. How do you make it clear?
Is this the first date? Am I allowed to ask questions? No.
It's the first date.
It's the first date and I'm asking them to come over.
And I've had a few drinks. It's me and I've had a few drinks. This is a tough one.
Guys, I think both of you are fumbling. Maybe you should pour 2 shots.
No.
This is not that hard.
Okay, but very seriously, I think because it's the first date, and if it was the younger me I'm talking about, right? I think there are 2 answers to this, and I'm going to answer. If it was the first few dates, I would be like, hey, after this, do you want to come over to my place? We can hang, we can chill, and maybe you can stay the night if you're up for it, if you're allowed to. If you're allowed to, because at that time we had to take permission from our parents. But that would be great. Today, in today's day and age, if I was in my 30s, I am in my 30s, and I was on a date and I would ask someone, I would just look at them and say, hey, I know we probably didn't plan this. I'm a little buzzed, but I would love for you to come over right now.
Okay.
And I think they would get that.
So he's not taking the shot.
But yours is very safe. Mine is flirtier than that. I think what I would just do is look the person straight in the eyes and say, listen, I really like where this is going and I'm having a really lovely time. I don't feel like ending the night yet. Do you want to come over?
Jesus.
I do.
You're supposed to be a neutral party. This is great for me.
Why'd you look at me like that?
Shots for Aashish then?
No, hey, I gave 2 answers and I gave them first. This is about fumbling.
This
not
is about
the better
keeping
answer.
consent sexy. You wouldn't make yours sexy.
Mine was pretty sexy, don't you think so?
I mean, I like direct. I'm all for direct. Although
You're the judge and lawyer here.
I'm not a judge.
Well, you're the judge right now.
How about, and I don't know if this is crossing a boundary, and gender has a big role to play here, but how about gently touching the person on their hand? Would that be crossing a boundary?
But you're not asking them for anything.
No, of course. Gently touching them and sort of asking.
She needs to take the shot. She missed the question.
I think she forgot she's
just
supposed
wants
to be
touch
asking.
you. Tell me who won.
That's how good my line was. Do
Okay,
the
I'll
shot.
just do the shot.
Oh no.
Oh my God.
I'm going to be scraping both of you off of the floor today.
I'm not taking a shot. I won. Okay. We'll let everybody else decide who won. But next question.
Okay. You and your date are making out and you want to turn the heat up and undress, unhook the bra, or get a little under the shirt action. How do you clarify if they're open for more?
I have a question. I have an answer for this because I did this. I put my hand on her back, touched the bra, and I said, is this okay? And she said yes, and I did tuck.
Unfortunately, I have a very similar approach to it because my hand is also already there and I'm just like, do you want me to keep going?
Not sexy enough. Short. You gotta agree. You gotta agree.
Yeah.
Fine, I'll
Yes.
do this
You gotta
one.
do the shot.
Yes. But in this scenario, it, like, in all seriousness, it does get a little murky because for me, it's easier, right? I think when a girl is, trying to touch me or, a guy is trying to get, frisky with me, it gets a little less. Oh, I'm bisexual, by the way.
No, the shot just
I know the timing was
just
really
like,
off. I'm
you
like, Danny, did you not
homophobe.
know? I'm like, Danny, don't make faces when people say I'm bi.
I'm so sorry.
So if a guy or a girl or anybody else is touching me, the point where they have to go to ask if this is okay in the same scenario is a little tricky because it's the crotch region, right? And they always hesitate. And I'm always the one asking or telling them, hey, it's fine, you can continue.
I mean, I would just sort of play with the waistband and say, should I continue?
Yeah.
And I think that's a good one.
Yeah, you don't explicitly call it out. You kind of initiate and then just say, may I?
So, just in case anybody has this problem, because everybody I've been with had this problem, that's a good one.
Thank you. I didn't even do the shot.
Who does the shot this time?
I already did mine.
Loose, do
She
you want
also
to...
judged you for being bisexual.
She did.
Yeah, this is news to me after 10 years.
What's the next question? Because clearly I'm winning.
Wouldn't the
Okay.
same-
No.
Okay. You and your date are getting really hot and heavy. And you now want to initiate oral play. How do you ask?
That chugging, man. I love this drink, but it's slowly showing me it's 8%.
And your age.
Hey,
Why does he pick it back up after
it's
calling out how
tasty,
It is tasty.
isn't it?
Okay,
Okay,
you go first. How do you initiate?
okay. I need to get my bearings right.
I would just look at him and say, should I go down on my knees?
Oh, please. That is a good one. Why are we not thinking of this?
Because we don't kneel like that.
Wait. I'm getting my bearings right. I'm getting my bearings right. Okay, I'm doing the shot.
You are. Go ahead.
Shit.
Danny?
How does one ask? Okay, I'll do the shot and then do it. Jesus Christ.
Okay, mine's a little dirtier.
I'm hungry. Can I spread your legs?
It was supposed to be my turn.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I feel like people are learning way too much
much.
about this
But-
relationship and
but-
family.
But yes, Captain. Yeah. But Jesus.
I guess you do the shot too.
No, you didn't let me finish.
You fumbled.
I didn't though.
Okay. What would you say? Because I need
It's
some
in this
time.
department,
Huh?
but
What is it?
unfortunately she
What is
beat
it?
me to it. What I sometimes do is, if we're already making out by this point, right? So if they're close enough and my hands are like at the waistband or whatever they're wearing, then I typically lean in and say, I'd love to taste the rest of you.
Nice.
And
Very
depending on how they
nice.
react to that, I kind of understand what pace they want to move at, or if I should just
I'm
stop
absolutely
there.
loving this because I think where people keep talking about how do I make consent sexy, and I think this is sexier than not, just saying, oh, I'll assume. This made
Oh,
me
100%.
fucking like this blew my, yeah, fuck.
I think that moment where it doesn't even have to be a confident thing, right?
Yeah.
Someone could be a little nervous as well, but the fact that they've paused whatever we're doing and they're asking me this very specific question. And what I am thinking in that moment is not, they asked.
Yeah.
It's more like, oh, that's what you want to do next?
Yeah, but I think
Yeah.
no. I also think it's the way you guys are asking shit, right? Because because I think when people say, "Oh, ask for consent," they're like, "Hey," they suddenly think it's a legal
Google
thing. Hey,
form.
do you consent to? You know,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, no. This,
Do you consent
this
to
is
take
what
your pants off?
This is what consent looks like. This is what makes it sexy.
Are you going to survive us today?
I think he's mesmerized by us.
I'm always mesmerized by you guys.
Okay. Next. How do you bring up the use of flavored condoms or dental dams for oral sex?
For me, less direct. I don't know how to make it sexy, right? Because especially when it comes to flavored condoms, every time that would come up, it's like, am I implying that I smell down there or I taste bad?
Which is a reasonable.
Yeah, but I'm just not wondering how to make it sexy, because the sexy part would be
I mean, if it's like, it's winter season and strawberry is a seasonal fruit and you just lean into your partner and say, you me and some strawberry in bed tonight? Something like that.
I don't
Playing on the
expect actual strawberries.
Strawberries,
And
yeah.
imagine the
That's also
disappointment.
fair. Yeah.
I would get very upset if I didn't actually get strawberries after that. Can you imagine my reaction?
you're just a glut.
I am. This is true.
No, but I think that is a good way to push
Because
it.
again, you don't, you make it sound like an addition to whatever you have in the bedroom where you just lean in and say, I love the way you taste. But now if I had some mango on you.
I think that makes it sexy. I think it makes it sexy. I'm going to give it a shot. and see. I'm not taking a shot.
I
I'm
think
gonna
you
get-
have to because
No.
you didn't answer. It was really cute how you tried to get away and be like, oh, I think that sounds great. It is
But-
so much nicer than being direct about it. No, we saw that.
Okay, I'm getting pretty high because I'm not being able to answer any of these fucking questions.
Okay, we don't do the shot.
I'll take a sip.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we'll slow down
okay.
and do sips now.
Okay. Next question.
Okay.
I don't have an answer for this one, but because I usually assume protection is key.
That wasn't the question, but
I
you're
Wow.
you're involved in the game. That's what matters.
I'm going to
If
win.
he were doing shots, he would do 3. Okay. You've been having sex in missionary for a while and you would now want to try something new. How do you broach the subject?
Hey, I've been staring at your ass all day long. I wonder, could you turn around?
Nice.
Yes. I think a lot of times, and I've also experienced this, people tend to move you around without asking, right? And they
Yeah,
think
I'm
it's
not
sexy.
a fan of that.
And I'm just like, hey, listen, I'm a little older now. You're gonna hit my hip is gonna.
Very sexy.
But all jokes aside, it's not fun, right? Because you're mentally prepared for something. But when I tend to ask this way, or and I've always done this, right? If they are, we started in doggy, and I just say, hey, I just want to look into your eyes, right? Or I want to feel you in a different way, and I always make it about how I want to get closer to someone, right? And I do. Or in a different perspective, right? Because I miss that perspective of them. And I want to see every inch in every way possible. When the conversation becomes about that, you're asking for consent and you're making it pretty, pretty sexy.
You don't sound very drunk now.
Hey.
The line clearly worked on time right now.
So Tanny takes a sip.
I did.
Oh, okay. Jesus.
Okay. How do you introduce a toy in the bedroom while making your partner feel like you're missing a third or...
Without making.
Sorry. That would be horrible. Jesus, can you imagine? I read that. I was like, that does not sound like a fulfilling, happy relationship without making... How do you introduce a toy in bed without making your partner feel like you're unhappy or that you're missing something? It's funny, we did an entire episode on this.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a bit of a
You need a toy when I say, peg me.
correct. Yes, that's implied. But also,
You want to look at new Sangya toy?
Oh, that's a nice one. But not everybody can use that, can they? Can they? You can actually.
Of course.
yeah, now on Blinkit.
Hey, if you're plugging on Zepto too. But yeah, I think for me, asking about toys, like we discussed earlier, he's not happy about the toys. But talking about toys is a very second, third date thing. And we're going to talk about this in the next episode as well. And I believe toys are always going to be something you need to talk about before and not
Before
in the,
and
in
not
the,
Yeah.
in bed.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you take a sip because your question was wrong.
Oh no, whatever shall we do? Oh my God.
It's not like we've already had a few before this episode started.
Okay. How do you ask your partner if it's okay to be a little rough with them? Pull hair, spank them, leave a mark.
Oh, this I love. It's sexy in itself. Like, for example, let's go to spanking, right? I'm in doggy and I was just like, I would love for you to have my handprint on your ass for tomorrow.
That's what I do with marks.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah, that's what I do with marks.
Yeah, but then I obviously start with, hey, I'll go softer if they say yes, because even they're going to be in the mood, right? And that's for spanking is always great. That line has always worked for me, right? And or I say stuff like, the view right now is so spankable. May I? Right? And things like that. But that's what I was talking about again. You got to make it about how it's elevating it, asking
Yeah.
for consent by being sexy. Hair pulling,
Yeah, what do you say? I love your hair. Give me some of it.
I've never done.
No, it's more like a control thing.
Yeah.
So if I'm already like holding the person's face or my hand's already kind of there, then I just sort of hold them really close and say, do you mind if I get a little rough with you now? And then because my hand's already there, they know what I'm asking. So
But then isn't that
it's
a little
slow.
assumption? Where's that line?
But I'm not going from 0 to 10, right? I'm going from 0 to 1 where there is just a little
Fair
hold.
enough,
It's
fair
still
enough.
gentle.
Yeah.
And if they like that, then I ask if I can get progressively rougher.
But one thing that no, I lost it.
Shocked.
No, I got the answer right. It was a hot answer.
Yeah, that's true. You
Have a sip.
No. I think, okay, everyone skips a shot on this round.
Okay, fine.
We all did good.
Fine, we did
We're
good.
very hot people. Great.
Okay. How do you ask? Oh, this is a good one.
Okay.
How do you ask your partner if you can finger their ass?
I will have a very boring answer for this one.
Why do you just say, can I finger your ass?
Yes. Because
There is
I'll tell you
no
why.
cool way
There is
to
no
do it.
cool way to ask this question. And you gotta be damn direct and damn clear about what you want to do and if they're ready for it.
I mean, you could also, while fingering, just gently ask, should I go lower?
Yeah, but not.
You can, but the problem with this is that the element of surprise is too strong. And the line between surprise and shock is very thin.
And not everybody
Fair.
I am dating
So-
has something to finger first.
Fair.
What a bizarre way to phrase your sexuality.
What do I say? She's like, well, while you're fingering, you can ask if you finger more.
Okay,
And I'm just like, I have nothing else to finger.
Okay, if your hand is in the general area, inside the undergarments,
I would
already-
say, may I?
Yeah, you have to just call it
I honestly
out.
believe that for this one, the sexiest thing is that you're in the vicinity. Ask directly.
Fair. Okay.
Or I guess you can make it a little playful where if your hand's already there and then you're just like, do you want me to get some lube?
They'll be
And then
confused.
sort
I'd
of-
get really confused.
No,
with
no,
that.
no. That would
Yeah.
definitely confuse me.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
Yeah. I'd be like, for where?
I'd be like, yeah, let's get some lube.
Yeah, because I
No,
would.
no, and then get very shocked.
Why are you excited?
I know, I really like our lube,
okay.
guys.
Okay.
They made a great product.
I am gonna take a sip.
Impromptu photos and videos in bed. How do you ask without scaring your partner?
Oh, man.
I would not recommend it at all.
Yeah.
Because even if you're in the moment and those photographs are on the phone, safety. Over here, it's not even about asking consent. Don't.
No, it's also the fact that I think this is one of those moments where the chances of a person not being able to explicitly say no
Yeah.
are a little high because
Yeah.
you're in the heat of the moment, everything's going really well, you're high from all the attraction and chemistry you're experiencing in that moment. And there's a chance that a person will just sort of give a very vague answer and
Yeah.
then later step out of that high and just be
Jesus,
like, I don't think I want them to
Listening this
have
is
that
making me
image.
uncomfortable. But
Yeah.
yeah. No.
So in the moment is not something I go with at all.
At
This is
all.
something you discuss beforehand and you give them plenty of time to think about it and sit with the idea of an image of them existing on my phone. And even then, typically it starts with like them sending me a picture of themselves first. So they had that control over the process. And then we can move on to
Yeah.
eventually being in a place where
and
like
the
in
digital,
the moment. And I'm like,
digital
"Can I
age
take a
right
picture
now
of
is so scary,
Yeah.
man.
It's-
I would not recommend in the moment at all.
I mean, you could always pick up their phone and ask, do you want to? It's
just-
not on your phone at all. It's not on your device. It's on
Yeah,
their
but it's still
device.
the act of
Act of
having
it.
a camera suddenly shoved
you.
in you.
Fair.
No,
I think that
yeah,
can just-
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. What's a hot way to get consent to talk dirty, degrade your partner in bed?
This is your wrong suit. Take away.
Man, I love language and communication during bed, right? It is. It
It's
can
everything.
It's everything, and it gets really, really hot. And I love dirty talking in Hindi, right? And how I start it is start in English and then it slowly, because I like to be verbal through this whole process. And when I start talking in Hindi and I start going into this particular one, session, I said, hey, what would you like me to call you? Aapko, and what would you like me to say to you at this point? And she's like, nee, anything or whatever it is. And because they get a little shy, I was like, no, tell me, should I call you something like X, Y, Z, soft one, right? I don't want to say it on camera. But it'll be very, benign in the sense of everybody talks about it online. It's sexy. And then it goes deeper. And she's like, can I go further? Can I go further? And it goes into that aspect. Because what you're doing is you're asking them how they want to be degraded. They want to be, what they want to be called, right? What turns them on? And they're like, yes, finally someone who has asked me what I would like to be called in bed. And it's everything when you say those words to them. And especially once you say those words to them in another language, it's mesmerizing what it does. Because when you start dirty talking and you say a word to them or you call them something which they're not prepared for, and you don't know what traumas have been, what traumas they have from these particular words, English or Hindi or any other language, right? People, especially if you're, if you're with a woman, they have gone through a lot of this unwanted degradation and humiliation that they were not accounted for in their life, and they view it in a very different manner. So that's why it's always great. Dirty talking is great. You start off with the small things about how they look, how they make you feel, what you would want them to feel. Can you tell me how you feel right now? What would you like me to do with my this? And when they start talking, you get an indication of what type of words they like using, what they like calling their chest, right? Because I know people who like breast tits, but hate calling it boobs, right? I know people who like calling it boobs, but once you say breast, they're like, hey, I'm not something you married.
Doctor.
Yeah,
Don't say that.
Don't say that, right? Some people who love calling, I don't even know. I'll have to edit this out, but
Please stop.
Some people who, okay, I'm going to say it and we can edit it out later. We'll see. Like some people who like calling their vaginal region cunt. Other people like pussy, right? You can't understand where that comes from, right? But some people prefer one to the other. And it's always nice to ask them first. So I believe both of you are going to take shots in rounds because I gave, while being क्या बोलते हैं उसको?
Drunk.
हाँ. Gave a very good answer according to me. Yes. Always
This is
ask.
to you dirty talking.
Pour me a shot.
Are we out? I've got one sip left in this. Okay.
Okay, shall we do the last
Yes.
question?
It has
of
to be
the
last
episode?
because we're out of alcohol.
We are. Okay, the big finish. How do you ask your partner for consent before you come on them?
I want to hear you answer this first because this is such a male mask fantasy. This is not something I really have.
Thank God there's no more alcohol because I'd have to take so many shots. I don't know if there's a
Smooth way
to ask this, right?
Where would you like me to come?
Like if someone's going down on me and someone, and I'm going to come and I probably want to come on their body, chest, or face or whatever it is. If it's not pre-discussed, it can be really traumatic, right?
Yeah.
And it's a split second. I'm like, I'm going to come. Can I come on your chest? And they're like,
No, definitely not like that. That
then-
is very jarring.
exactly. So,
But if you say, where do you want me to come? You are sort of giving them the power. It could just be in my hands if they are giving you a hand
I
job.
think for this kind of thing, I'd like it pre-discussed, where all I'm allowed and where all I'm not. Simply because if I hope other men feel the same way, it's a split-second decision when you're going to come and when you're not. And that's why never do the pull-out method. But always wear protection because you're never always in control of when exactly it's happening.
That's true.
So spit, swallow, where you're going to come, what you're going to do, etc. You got to have that pre-discussed, according to me. It's sexy enough that you have discussed it, and then once you've discussed the areas, like for example, me and my partner know face is a no-go, but when we're giving oral, chest and stomach is okay. So when I'm going to be coming, I'd be like, can I do the chest? Because she already knows right? That chest is an option. She's like, yes. Mhm. And it goes forward because that's where the preconceived consent making sexy happens because you've already discussed it. And in the moment when you ask where, it's hotter, according to me. I think that's the best I can answer right now. But yeah.
That's a good one.
But did I win?
I think you did.
Yes.
Actually, I think I won.
You couldn't win this. You're not
You're
in
the
the
one
game.
asking the questions.
Yeah, but I gave a couple of really amazing answers.
Okay. Thank you for joining us on this episode of In Bed with Sangya. I hope you really enjoyed the episode as much as I enjoyed having this IST seltzer. And thanks to them for sending a crate. It's finished, by the way. This episode and many others like this are available on YouTube, Spotify, on our Instagram as well. We love talking about sex. We love talking about intimacy, pleasure products, and everything in between the sheets. And if you want to join us in this conversation, stay tuned for the next episode of In Bed with Sangya. You never know who's going to join us.